Thank you, Zacharias. Good afternoon, good morning. I don't know what the time is, colleagues. And I don't want to spend too much time speaking. I've been talking for many, many years. And I just want to start to thank you to each of the colleagues that we've been working with representing the key laboratories for the very honest feedback you gave this morning. These projects are complicated. If it was easy, we would not have offered to get involved. And we've been working in a very dynamic situation over the last years. And we would all like to be 100% successful, especially I'm a metrologist, and we do not want a high uncertainty of achievement. But, as it goes with many projects, of course, there were challenges and not everything could be accomplished as we hoped. For various reasons, we have heard the colleagues talk about bureaucracies, things like this. But in the end, we are extremely pleased that, as we've heard from the colleagues speaking, and I really appreciate that we had the laboratories in the room today, because at the technical committee meetings, it was mostly INNOQ. And I really value that we've had the laboratories and the association that we also worked with to tell the audience today about some of the work that has been perhaps less visible in the past. So thank you so much. So I just have 2 slides very quickly, and just to try and summarize, looking at the impact of the program, not so much looking at all the technical activities in that. For looking at it, we believe there are 4 major outcomes that will ensure that there's a lasting legacy the project will leave and contribute towards the developments in Mozambique. The first one, we have seen throughout the project a very clear commitment from the government, very specifically from the Ministry of Economy, that has demonstrated through a very progressive and comprehensive policy framework, which is now in place, supported by the institutional mechanisms, that they have a real commitment towards not just strengthening the quality infrastructure in this country, but ensuring that there's a quality culture that is developed in the country. It's very important that the demand for quality services needs to come from the market, and the market, which is working with the private sector predominantly, needs to have a culture of quality, which we have seen demonstrated through the work done by my colleague Ursula, where we've worked with a number of companies that have really embraced the capacity that has been developed in the area of quality. So what is really critical for us is that there's a very comprehensive national quality policy with an implementation strategy, and supported by the National Quality Council, CONQUA, that has responsibility to report on the implementation of this policy. And I'm very pleased to report to the colleague from the EU that actually this week I received a report from CONQUA. This has been something which we've been requesting, and we trust and we understand that the CONQUA has also been impacted through the changes in government in the recent months. And we trust now that things have been are stable, and the new government and the various structures are in place, that the word of CONQUA will be able to now proceed. A very good result for us has been, and we heard the Deputy Director General of INNOQ speaking about the aspects of having a robust INNOQ. This was the word he used. What is important, the interventions by these projects add to the capacity of the institution. This brings additional obligations on the institution and its budget to be able to sustain operations. So we are extremely pleased that despite some of the challenges that we've occurred, that the sustainability and the mandate of INNOQ has been well strengthened. We have not just managed to enhance the technical capacity, but also managerial capacity. We have managed that INNOQ has significant new services. We heard, and we will see today some of the results of that, where INNOQ is able to offer certification in the particular value chains that we've been working in. and provide audits and that, which was not possible before the project. And the services have been strengthened in a broad number of areas: standardization, certification, metrology, training, as well as the work INNOQ is doing in support of technical regulations as the focal point on aspects of the WTO TBT agreement. A very important element is that we have seen that there's been an enhancement of INNOQ's ability to interact with the market and stakeholders. We can see that the marketing strategy and the work done by the project has resulted in INNOQ in the recent 2 years coming up with excellent campaigns in social media, in media. I have seen in recent days that INNOQ will be having a regular podcast on quality, and congratulations to INNOQ, because if the market is not educated, if the consumers are not educated, the relevance and sustainability of INNOQ will be questioned, and of the entire system. So congratulations to Director Arlindo and his team for what we have been visibly seeing INNOQ is doing in terms of promoting its services. What is important is the project having strengthened the ability of INNOQ to be more efficient in the services. The work that we have been doing in digital migration of INNOQ, which will be completed through the work with the colleagues of the World Bank, just due to the expensive nature of this. This will continue, and this will result that the companies and consumers have much easier access to standards, to advice, to information from the work done in INNOQ. INNOQ is in Maputo, and through this digital migration, it will ensure that that people all over the country, whether you're in Tet or Cabo Delgado and Sofala province, you'll be able to have much easier access to the standards and the work of INNOQ. A significant effort was the strengthening of the regional office of INNOQ in Nampula. When the project started, there was one person working in Nampula in a small office shed with IPE and with IPEM. And today we've seen that INNOQ has a much stronger regional office supported by yes, vehicles we've heard, by office equipment. But we want to appreciate the fact that with the support of the ministry, INNOQ has also increased significantly the number of staff that they will have working in Nampula, which is extremely important as well. The work in the refurbishment of the laboratories is getting close to completion. Of course, there were some delays, many unforeseen delays in this, but we trust that the project will be leaving INNOQ with a very beautiful laboratory environment. And I have learned that the World Bank is supporting the fact, a reality to develop a further facility for INNOQ in Nampula, where this facility will be aimed at enhancing the legal metrology inspection facilities in the country. And those legal metrology facilities will be dependent on calibrations obtained from the laboratories that will be established at the regional office. So the important issue here, INNOQ is no longer just in Maputo. INNOQ is now very active in the northern region of the country. And we heard from Director Arlindo that the requirement that also hopefully in future projects can support the strengthening of INNOQ services in other major centers of the country, in Sofala province and such. In terms of conformity assessment services, they were, and we've heard, maybe not as successful as we hoped, but significant work done to enhance the services in testing, in food safety, inspection and monitoring. Thank you, Dr. Selina, for also highlighting the work on the residual monitoring programs and that. Many things that were not originally planned and foreseen, and are hugely appreciative to the willingness of the European Union delegation to accommodate some of these requirements that came, and we try to find ways to support that. UNIDO is not leaving INNOQ behind. We have the continued work through the GMAP project, and the GMAP project was motivated as a result of the challenges we realized the country faced in fisheries exports in particular. And whilst they're focusing significantly on aquaculture, we believe that project that was, came to be as a result of this project will continue to support the work of INNOQ and also of other institutions in the fisheries sector. And we do hope that the fisheries exports to the EU will regain its former glory, and that you can continue to serve the market of the EU in this regard. And just then, maybe a last slide I will use because I think we're running short of time. I left this for later today, but just to reflect, perhaps just for key takeaways for future consideration. It's important for the Ministry of Economy to maintain the leadership, the momentum, and the support for the continued implementation of the national quality policy beyond only INNOQ. The quality policy talks not just about INNOQ, it talks about the role of the private sector, it talks about the quality culture, it talks about other elements of a quality system that is not a function of INNOQ alone. So it's really important that the Ministry of Economy keep driving with the leadership and works with the CONQUA that these elements can be accomplished. It's extremely essential that the national accreditation body be established. We are very grateful. This is a key aspect of the quality policy that the World Bank has taken this activity on board. This was not an activity foreseen for PROMOVE Comércio, because without an accessible accreditation body that offers affordable accreditation services, it will be very difficult for the quality-related services in the country to be more freely available. Private sector struggles to have access to affordable and efficient conformity assessment services and calibration services. And this we find predominantly still in the public sector institutions. And the national accreditation body is extremely important to ensure that one of the next recommendations would be that the private sector or very efficient. Just the last point was the a very important aspect for Mozambique, if we reflect on the value chains that we've been working on, is the reality that the situation for sanitary and phytosanitary measures and the system itself remains very fragmented in the country. I think the colleagues, especially from the laboratory side, will help to explain that because we don't have a really well coordinated food safety management system and a food safety agency, it's extremely challenging, and it will remain challenging for Mozambique to respond to a number of requirements that lie in the sanitary and phytosanitary domain. And the project specifically focused on a number of the TBT type of aspects and less so on the effects of the challenges in the SPS domain. And I know that you need a representative who's taking the photo of this and listening to me. We have discussed this a lot, and we do believe that there's a policy dialogue that needs to be had with the government. And this is beyond the role of the Ministry of Economy. There are various ministries involved in SPS, whether it's Mazao, Madar, Mimaip, various others. And this is going to be extremely important if Mozambique really wants to capture the opportunity it has to enhance your exports in food-related products, whether it's agriculture, animal origin, or plant-based products and fish and such. So this is really important. And then just the last slide, I really want to thank just maybe Rogerio, the last slide, which is really important. We do not have the DNI in the room today. We have my sincere appreciation to the colleagues from DNI, especially from the Ministry of Economy, for all the support we've had, Director Shadonio and his team, and then specifically to the leadership in INNOQ, the leadership of INEP and LEAP, and the laboratories of LEAP in Beira, Beira, and Kiloman, as well as Maputo, to the leadership of Mazao and LNHIA. And lastly, which is below, to the colleagues, we did not really talk too much about that today, but we've also been working quite a bit with the nutrition laboratory of the University of Lurio in Nampula, which unfortunately are not present today. From my side, and then I can just want to ask Helena and Heider to stand up. This project was not possible with a really good national team. And what was very important for us in this project is that you neither do not implement this project with international people. Yes, we've had short-term international conventions, and the project will leave as a legacy to very competent and well-qualified national consultants and experts. And thank you to you guys as well for all the support you've lent, and of course the rest of the colleagues. But thank you, Heider and Helena, and I think you've contributed significantly and we'll leave it with that. Thank you.